Daiwa's recent focus on spinning reels have primarily been with their LT series, the LT meaning light and tough. They've got a lot of different models in here. They've got the Exceller LT, the Regal LT, and in this case, we have the Tatula LT, which is one of the higher, if not the highest model of LT reels in the series. Now, those other reels I mentioned are some of Daiwa's best reels that they've ever made, in my opinion. The question today is, does the Tatula hold up to that same standard? Find out in today's video. All right, let's go over the specs on this reel that I have here. This is the TALT 2000D XH, which is basically the 2000 size model. The gear ratio on this one is coming in at 6.2 to 1. The weight is coming in at 5.8 ounces. Drag is coming in at 11 pounds. Bearings is 6+1. Line capacity is 220 yards of 6-pound test and 160 yards of 8-pound test, and the MSRP is $200. Now, I just finished wrapping up a video on the Shimano Vanford, and I think these two reels are pretty comparable, so I'm gonna kind of be using the Vanford as kind of a measuring gauge of how this reel is, so just keep that in mind. I'm gonna talk about that reel a lot in today's video. Now, as for versatility goes, this reel comes in a 1 to 4,000 size, which is not as much as some other reels. It still covers a wide range of types of fishing, right? You've still got your crappie, panfish, bass, bluegill, catfish, I guess, would work in there. You've still got a lot of species, but I do think having that 500 and 5,000 size, it really opens up a lot more possibilities, specifically on the saltwater end of it. But either way, still covers a lot of different species, almost all your freshwater applications. Now, I did read that it was saltwater sealed. However, I can't find a lot of information on how well it was sealed, so just keep that in mind. Like you would any reel, wash this off very good with fresh water after any use on the surf or on a boat or whatever, anything saltwater related, because I don't know how well the reel's sealed on the inside. Now, one thing I noticed is even though they don't have as many models as another reel, say the Shimano Vanford, I noticed a big difference in their spool sizes, which is interesting. So the Tatula is coming in 220 yards of 6-pound test. The Vanford is only 165 yards of 6-pound test. So if you think about it, right, that's like 60, I think it's like 60, 70 yards extra you're getting on this spool versus the Vanford, which that's a lot of line. That's a huge difference in line. Even the 8-pound test is 160 yards, and then it's 105 yards on the Vanford. So that's 55 yards of 8-pound test. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference at the end of the day. So I thought that was interesting that this holds so much more line than the Vanford, and that could actually really come in handy in certain times, especially on that light saltwater application, because you really don't know what you're going to hook into when you're out there. Now, as for the durability portion, this completely holds up with the other reels in the line, the Regal and the Exceller, and I know there's one or two more, I believe, in there as well. All of them are extremely durable reels. This is no different. I absolutely love this reel. It's super durable in your hand. Now, as for feel, one thing that I love about Daiwa reels is they use those machine cut handles. It's a big feature that Daiwa boasts on all their reels. I absolutely love it. Shimano has something very similar to it. Shimano and Daiwa are pretty much the only two reels that have like that thin style handle on all of their high-end reels. I absolutely love it. The feel you get from that when you hold, you just feel so in touch with the reel and everything else that's going on the end of your line. I love that super thin style. It's really comfortable. I don't know, something about the shape of that handle really helps. It's just a small detail in there that can make a huge difference. So yeah, in terms of feel, these reels are incredible. I can hold this all day without having to worry, right? I love it. It is a little bit heavier than the Vanford. The Vanford's coming in about 5.3 ounces, and this is 5.8. It's not a huge difference, but I think you can kind of feel a little bit if you hold both reels in your hand. I think you can kind of feel the Vanford. Vanford definitely feels a little bit less of something in your hand. Now, as for looks, I've actually talked to multiple people about this reel, and we all kind of have budding opinions. I personally, the all black looks nice. I actually do like the Stradic CI4 and the Vanford look, which is that, more of that like gray, gunmetal gray, like the shine, and then with like the matte black and then the red finish, like the red accents. I love that look better actually than the all black. So a friend of mine we were sitting there talking about this reel. He loves the all black, and the reason why he likes it is because it matches all of his rods. He actually custom makes rods as well, and he makes all black rods, and then he matches the all black reel. And I will say they do look really, really cool. But I don't know, something about the Vanford to me, I just like the look on that reel a little bit better. But this is a very opinionated topic. I will say there's not very many reel brands that have an all black reel like this. So props to Daiwa for kind of making a new colorway that we haven't really seen a lot of. A lot of reel companies like throwing in just random crap in the reel, and I think it kind of makes it look ugly in the end. I like those reels that kind of stick to one or two colors, and specifically I like the reels that come in with darker colors, kind of like the Vanford and like this. So I still think the Vanford looks better, but I still don't think this looks bad at all. So as for price, this is coming in at $200, which is $50 less than the Vanford, which is a huge selling point, right? These two reels are pretty comparable in most aspects, but coming in at $50 less is a huge advantage on the Vanford. I don't know if these two reels, like I don't know if Shimano and Daiwa, I know they compete obviously, but I don't know if these two reels were meant to kind of compete with each other. I don't know. Daiwa, I believe, has another reel at about $250 that would probably compete a little better with the Vanford. But just in my opinion, like when I worked at Bass Pro Shops and I sold reels, it seems to me like a lot of people were like, all right, I want either a Stradic or a Tatula. That was kind of the argument, or that was kind of the conflict that people had when they came in. So I tend to compare those two a lot with each other. I like that price point at $200. It's nice. However, if it's my opinion, I still just love the Vanford so much. I would probably upgrade the $50 and buy a Vanford, or I think for $200 you could probably go on eBay or an auction, market or whatever, and probably get a Stradic, like an old Stradic, for probably that same price, for probably $150, $200. That's just my opinion on it. I know some people will disagree with me, but that's just my thoughts. I'd still rather have a Stradic. So let's go over the pros and cons of this reel here. So as for the pros, this reel is extremely durable. It's also very light. So, obviously the LT in the Daiwa, it's a great selling point because they are both those things. It's also a great feel in your hand. I love the handle. The handles on these are super comfortable. I would say in terms of cons, the fact that I couldn't find a lot of information on how well the reel was sealed is kind of weird. Like, I looked on multiple places and I couldn't see anything, so that could be kind of something to look at, especially for you saltwater guys. The only other thing is I would just say there's some extra features that other reels have that are a little bit more expensive, and I think you're getting a big upgrade, i.e. the Vanford. So my overall rating of this reel would be an 8 out of 10. That is still obviously a great score. The only reason why I don't have it at 10 out of 10 is because I don't know, for you saltwater guys, how well, this would hold up. It does have a better drag than the Vanford, which is a huge point, but I think the Vanford's drag is smoother, so that could be something as well. Like I said, yeah, the sealant, and then the colorway, for me personally, I like the Vanford's colorway better, and I just think overall, $200, maybe a little expensive for this. Maybe like $150 would really put this in a whole new class of reels. But either way, $200, I still don't think this is a bad reel at all, especially for you Daiwa diehards. I love it. It's still a great reel. Just the fact that I'm comparing this reel to a Stradic or Vanford tells you how good this reel is, right? Because there's very few reels that I would sit up here and compare spec by spec to a Stradic to see how it performs. Like, most reels are just like, okay, yeah, it's not even close. But the fact I'm doing it with this reel says something. If you guys want to see another reel review, I will put it right here. If you want to see a rod that would pair up well with this reel, I will put it right here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you got something out of it. If there's a product you want to see me do a review on in the future, let me know in the comments below. We'll see you guys next time on Humbug Videos.